as well going into it against a team like G2.
Let's see what we're going to eat today, this side of G2, as we are heading into picks and bans. As we said, Astralis is going to be playing on the blue side, G2 on the red side. Any bans that we can expect or should see on the side of Astralis playing this blue?
Draven, please.
Yeah.
Let's remove
That's
Draven.
the opening.
That's a good opening. I'm curious what happens with Heimerdinger, because I think Heimerdinger got nerfed, but it also got buffed with Yuumi and Lulu being less prio. So I'm hoping that Heimerdinger either is heavily contested or we see it removed from the pool,
Yes.
so we see more Zyra Khan.
I think it's important to highlight that with Heimerdinger as well, that the thing that was nerfed about him was his AP scalings, and that meant that was mostly the laning phase that was nerfed, but he does build full AP in his build pattern, so he is buffed in the late game as well. So even when you see champions like the Thresh come through, you will still have your value, because you just stop the hook coming through, you get a free laning phase, and you get the free scaling.
Removing the Elise also on the side of G2, we know that leader likes these AD picks and 113 priors this champion. What are we going to see on the last bans here on the side of Astralis, and how do you want to open the draft?
I'm curious if they're just going to slam the Sejuani. I think that opens up a lot of synergies together with leader. Now with Elise and Gragas out of the picture, I'm hoping to see that. I think one edge that Astralis have in the draft is the fact that they are willing to play the Caitlyn and they can slam that 2-3. And they might put G2 in a position where they have to pick Varus.
Yeah, I was going to say, so far as well, we usually see Annie as the red side ban, but this time around, that's not going to be the case. I didn't think that the Sejuani would be first pick, because we've already seen what G2 does with this. We've seen the Lilia multiple times from Yike. We've seen him absolutely dumpster these Sejuanis whenever they did come out. So I was a bit surprised not to see the Caitlyn there.
A bit of trolling on the side of BB here. Love
Well,
it.
that is on
The
brand
hover.
for him after
Yeah.
all.
I think the key thing is just that G2 haven't shown any prior at Kate at all. So I'm
No.
curious if they're going to leave full counter pick to third and maybe pick mid and jungle. Oh, there it is.
There it is.
They've hit it. They're busting it out. I shouldn't be surprised. They play everything.
Yeah, so let's see if they just want to pair it up with a jungler now. Once again, usually if you go for an AP jungler here, then you still want to secure a really good support on 3 here before you move into solo laners, because you want something that has good value with the Caitlyn as well. So that would mean that some of the AD junglers, or AD solo laners rather, when we got into the second ban phase, would take a halter. But for now, they're just going to secure the support immediately, and it is going to be that Heimerdinger.
Yeah, the tricky thing is so hard to find champions to pick into this. It's like Ashe is out, and maybe you can play like Varus X, but everything into Heimerdinger and Kate. You know, it's so hard to pick Engage into it, so hard to pick Poke into it. It's just a very difficult lane to break.
Yeah, we could still see the likes of Karma as well if you want to go for that kind of utility to deal with the turrets as well. You have the range and some of the wave clear as well to assist your AD carry with the wave coming through. Xayah would be good self-field. The thing with Xayah into the, what is it again, the Heimerdinger specifically, is that if you have to use your ultimate to dodge the nade, well then that's very conditional, and Heimerdinger can just get out of the way for free.
Yeah, the tricky thing, even though Xayah is very strong on the patch, already G2 is showing a composition that doesn't really want to go in. The fact that they have the range advantage is going to put G2 in a position where they can really poke out Xayah before the fights even start.
Okay, with this Leona pick, that kind of tells me, there comes Kled. But with the Leona pick as well from Astralis, that kind of tells me that we want to flip this in the early game. We want to just be aggressive. And yeah, you're going to try and set up the turrets, so it wouldn't surprise me if we also went into the early game and saw a lot of fighting just before the mini team even spawned for the bushes here. Now, as Astralis, you don't know where this Kled is going. We've seen it both mid lane, we've seen it top lanes. You kind of have your flip your bans a little bit. You can go for some of the junglers. Maybe they even think the likes of a Lilia now would be really good bans, since they already know there's an AD here that could be flexed into the mid lane with the Kled.
I'm kind of thinking that Astralis is going to slam something like the Irelia and just pick another AD champion top and just roll with it, because already the fact that they locked in Leona Sejuani makes the Merc's value super, super high. So I'm hoping they're going to just lock double AD F45 with like Renekton Irelia and just try to brawl the game out with the Sejuani.
And they saw the Lilia threat here, of course, with the ban coming to be.
Yeah, I think it was quite telling from what we've just seen so far. What I'm really wondering is that how far down the rabbit hole of AP junglers would Yike be willing to go as well, because you don't necessarily have to go that route. Like, we still see the Bellwether is something he wants to play, and then all of a sudden, you know, Caps can just play something more supportive in the mid lane that can still has that AP threat itself. So the damage composition of G2, like, it's the flexibility of them once again. It's the fact that you don't really know what to expect from them.
Oh, it's very tricky. I'm just going to wait until G2 pick the fourth champion.
See, that's the thing, right? Because you're going to try and predict it. It's like, it's hard for us, and it's hard for the coach, and it's hard for anyone that plays against G2 because of this specifically.
They're going to lock a Trundle because it's good into Sejuani and Leona. Something like this. It's hard to predict. I'm trying to think AP jungles, but I'm just going to sit here, quiet
Viable
moment for
ones?
fourth pick.
Yeah, no, there's not many options. But I mean, who knows? Who knows? They usually try a lot of stuff during scrims. So, and the Jarvan here. Oh, okay, this one is a surprise though.
Now, Jarvan could be flexed into solo lane as well, just for the record. I do believe we have seen some. Yes, I do believe we have seen some of that on solo queue accounts as well with Jarvan, but also just with the AD buffs that kind of benefit your W. And Desti, Aurelia, you were actually just talking about it. It has that potency with the Sejuani in the jungle.
Yeah, the main thing for me with picking Jarvan is that you know these melee bruisers are coming 4-5, and Jarvan is terrible into them. Aurelia Sejuani is going to win everywhere Jarvan shows up. Same thing with the Renekton Sejuani. So Jarvan's going to struggle. He's going to have to gank bot. All right. The brother matchup. Yon versus Yasuo.
It's the classic.
I like we just are quiet when G2 are picking because...
It's like, what do you want, right? And actually, Malphite as well is a genius pick here on 5 as well, because you know you're playing into 2 bruisers anyway. You can just itemize into that armor immediately. You want early Bramble, you want early armor, you want play the steel cast. You know, you got it coming. So it's a great front line to have in that regard.
I have to say, I think the top side of Astralis here is looking super strong, and I think they can really fight back. But if something goes wrong, champions like Kled and Malphite definitely have good itemization to counter this. I think the main entry point for G2 is the fact that Caitlyn Heimerdinger is going to be able to have prio always, and Heimerdinger should be first to any of the engagements that happen around mid. And this is something that Mickey has converted so brilliantly in all of the games we've seen so far.
What are we looking at here in the early game, GB? With high lane prio on the side of G2.
Yeah, I'm mainly looking at the fact that Astralis needs to leverage the fact that if either you just say we sack the bot lane and you guys just gonna have to survive, we play topside, or you try and attack the same thing with a Leona and Sejuani, who's also just a CC bot in itself if you want to come down there. I think with the engage that we see from the side of G2, that's going to be super beneficial against the solo laners. But for Kobe specifically, if he gets ahead, he's got a lot of self-heal, he's got a lot of good kiting back. So there's still an opportunity for Astralis, but I think with the champions that there is on G2 right now, I think they're happy with some of the solo lanes they're playing into.
It doesn't just come to the draft when you play against G2, unfortunately, Yamato.
100%. I do like what Astralis brought to the table, but this game will be bloody and will be fast. We will have a game decided in very fast fashion, but it will be bloody and delicious.
That's what I'm waiting for, especially in this game opposing G2 to Astralis. But without further ado, let's get into the game. Mediviri, take it away.
Thank you very much, Law. Already a great breakdown of the teams and how these drafts are going to interact. As you can see, Astralis already got a 5.6 thousand gold lead in the mid lane, Betty.
Wow.
That's humongous.
That's massive.
No one has any summoners either.
Again, perspective,
I promise.
5.6 thousand gold advantage, very big. 5,600 ants, very small. A lot of ants, though.
It is a lot of ants. If the ants were coordinated, we would be in trouble.
Danger.
We'd be in a
It's
lot
that
of
whole
trouble.
argument of duck-sized horse or 100 horse-sized ducks. Yeah.
No, other way around.
No, it's not. Duck-sized horse.
I will take one duck-sized horse. I'll be honest, that's a much easier battle. Anyway, as usual, we see both the teams going down towards the bottom lane to try and get prio. Heimerdinger, Caitlyn.
Wait, so there is one thing I wanted to say, because I loved how you said the analyst has great insight into the comps. I wasn't listening because we were too busy talking about Malphite builds.
Yes.
And then we looked up Showmaker, who built what?
He built Frozen Fist, or Iceborne Gauntlet, Wits End Manamune mid.
Nice, right.
With lethal tempo, and it's grasped this time, so I don't think Caps is going that direction.
Yeah, we were looking at some of the Caps builds. Yesterday he went pretty tanky, but Caps has been cooking. His solo queue, like history, it's an adventure.
Rakan mid.
So I'm really excited to see what he does today. Now, one of the things I love about Malphite into Aurelia is E, the attack speed slow, really effective.
Flash forward from Jonghoon. Mickey's been ignited here. Ticking down, the heal coming out as well. Jonghoon will have the second Q up in just a second, gets the stun. Kobe misses the Featherstone and has to flash into it. Now, 113 coming in to join the party. Kobe, low, gets taken out by Hansama. Hansama has cleanse, has flash, isn't going to use either of them. He knows he's dead. 113 will claim the kill. Astralis 2-1 to the good.
Now, the wave is in a fantastic spot for Astralis as well, because G2 tried to get that early push, which means that both jungle and support can look to go immediately back to base, and Kobe can catch all of this farm as well. The bad news for Kobe is he wasn't able to secure any of the kills, but overall still a great advantage gained very early on in the 2 versus 2.
That play actually reminded me a little bit. Remember Misfits? Ignore Hansama?
Oh yeah.
With the Fervor of Battle Leona level 1?
I do.
Well, Hansama on the receiving end of it this time. No Fervor of Battle, obviously, on the Leona. Glacial much stronger, and Fervor of Battle no longer exists, so it'd be quite hard to build it. There is a lot of physical damage on this Astralis team. We'll talk a little bit more about that after we see this, because this is Jonghoon just being like, Mickey's overstepped, let's go.
Yeah, and you can see they were like, I mean, this is only the first wave, so it's not even a matter of like being close to level 2. Astralis just all in with the power of the level 1. I think it's the best play that you can make in this situation. The headshot does come through from Hans Sommer, and there was a world where he was thinking to himself, maybe I can get out, but without the E, and with 113 still having the Q up and flash up, he decided that it wasn't worth spending the summoner spells.
And also, if he spends those summoner spells, Jonghoon has Hex Flash, so he can always just Hex Flash, try and engage with the Zenith Blade. The Q level 1, I love, only has a 6-second cooldown. It was a 1-point wonder there on the Leona, so Jonghoon using that very well in the early game. Yikes cleared his entire jungle apart from the Krugs, now working his way towards this mid lane as Leader and 113 will try and answer the push that comes out from Caps and his jungler.
Now, this was the duo that Yamato was talking about on the desk, with Aurelia plus Sejuani being a very powerful 2v2. Jonghoon has made his way up, and the flash will be forced from Caps. As the all-in from Astralis is looking good. Jonghoon is being very proactive in this early game. Kobe stunned.
Huge stun. There's the root as well with the snap trap, and Kobe doesn't have an opportunity to breathe. Taken out by Mickey and Hans Sommer underneath the tower.
It's a very clean play from the bot lane of G2. They punished the roaming of Jonghoon, and Kobe, with no summoners himself, was, well, he really had very few options in terms of how to get out of there. And I was just about to praise Kobe as well. Last split, this bot lane had an incredible performance, and already this split, the bot lane of Astralis is continuing to look good. Let's not forget that they 2v2 killed the bot lane of Koi. They just successfully 2v2 killed Hans Sommer and Mickey. Like, this bot lane making a very fair argument already as one of the best bot lanes that Europe has to offer.
Yeah, and even though they were able to make some plays early on in this game, they are 600 gold down in that bot lane. The plate, Hans Sommer having 2 kills as well. Kobe not picking up either of the kills in that bot lane was a little bit of a struggle for Astralis, and so even though they have played well, they are a little bit behind.
Now, hang on, I was just about to talk about this mid lane matchup. You can see Astralis threatening a dive onto Hans Sommer. Mickey is looking for a roam. This is a very common Mickey play, and Astralis is looking to punish it.
113 can step forward, only 2 minions here for them. Hans Sommer able to dodge to the side, still has the cleanse, still has the flash, uses it underneath the tower, stunned up, CC. Kobe takes the kill, 113 will fall in response.
Wow, props to Hans Sommer. Is forced to use all of his summoners, but is actually able to trade 1-for-1 in that dive. But Mickey's roam effectively punished. Now G2 looking to get something back.
Kobe wanted the plate there, wanted that little bit of extra gold. Stunned up though, and Kobe has nowhere to go once again. The turrets will do their work, and Kobe will fall to Yike. Tried to get some damage back with the blade caller, but it just was not enough.
Every single play that Astralis makes, G2 is quick to respond. A very bloodthirsty early game between the two teams, as top lane just continues to farm. But what an action-packed bot side of the map. Kobe Jonghoon working very well with 113 in terms of trying to find these early game advantages. We saw glimmers of this early game last split from Astralis, and it's great to see them continue this level of early game aggression and investment in the bot side of the map. The play is pretty straightforward, but let's keep track of what Hans Sommer does here. He sidesteps the Q, he places down a trap, uses the E to dodge the W, flashes over to try and escape the feathers, does get rooted up, pops the cleanse, but the CC is still too strong, which means that he ends up losing his life. But able to keep 113 underneath the tower long enough and do enough damage that he's able to trade back. And then Mickey puts the turret down, lands the stun, gets more than enough damage to assist with the icon securing that kill. Kobe doing what damage he can, but it's not quite enough. And ends up being a 1-for-1 overall.
Does even out that gold a little bit down towards the bottom lane, though. You can see only 100 gold, the lead for Hans Sommer and Mickey apiece now. So Astralis able to fight back a little bit as G2 take the first dragon of the game. Leader in the mid lane has a sizable CS advantage over Caps, who was forced back earlier on. 20 CS at only the 7-minute mark. Leader very well known for his Aurelia. 73% win rate on it as his second most played champ throughout his professional career.
The man, well, in the past, was always criticized for his limited champion pool. It was interesting hearing in an interview from him yesterday where he talked about how, like, he wants to work with his team to better enable these picks, and so far he's being well enabled. But G2, level 6 is Jonghoon here to cover, though.
Camp's relatively low on mana, should have enough for the ultimate. 113 covering, as you say. Vanguard's edge going out as well. The flawless shoot out for the double stun. It's beautiful from Astralis. Camps goes back in with an ultimate of his own. Leader dodging around as much as he can and readying the hell out of that fight. A double for Leader. In the end, they trade it for 1 on 113.
Ends up being a 2-for-1 trade in favor of Astralis, and both kills go on to Leader, though. Really great awareness from Astralis, and their proactivity in this early game is incredible to watch. I feel like that we're seeing so many dramatic changes from teams here in LEC. A single player change, and so often the rosters can look so different. And Leader working so well with his jungle support to find those early game leads. Kobe, though, needs to be careful. Very low, doesn't quite have the level 6. Now secured it. Good trade onto Handsummer there, forced to burn the pot. Let's see if anything else can come off the back of this as we get a replay. So, again, Zhonghun and 113 are here to protect. 113 doesn't have the ultimate yet, but they see an opportunity to engage. They know that they win in the damage department here. They land, lock up Mickey. They get the follow-up CC from Leader as well from his E. The ultimate comes out from Caps, but it's too late when Broken Blade does finally join the fight. He's able to get that kill onto 113, but Leader, after securing that kill onto Caps, just chooses to disengage. And the fact that they're able to walk away with a numbers disadvantage, with 2 kills for 1, was just very well played fight from Leader and the jungle support duo.
There's now 1,000 gold ahead. Broken Blade's going to be stunned up here. Finn looking for an engage as well. Broken Blade flashing away. Good flag and drag from Yike, but Leader's still on the chase. The Cataclysm coming down. Leader having to dash back. And G2 find a kill in the 3v3. Mickey doing some damage down towards the bottom side as well. Kobe had to burn the heal here. Ace in the hole available for Handsummer means that Kobe has to walk all the way back to his tier 2. 113 caught out by Yike. Dashes across the wall. Ooh, Zhonghun was looking for it there. Flashes forward, Mickey flashes away, but it's going to be more plates lost for the Astralis bot lane.
Just aggression across the board from G2 and Astralis. The problem now for Astralis is that while they are willing to match G2 in these skirmishes and in these fights, you can see it is G2 that is the overall winner. Now, Astralis trying to get something back.
Caps has the flash, they're looking for the CC chain here though. Landic, Glacial Prison, not available for 113. Leader still trading in. Caps has a hell of a lot of armor already. Pretty healthy as well. Finn gonna join the party. Flag and drag away from Yike. They turn back towards Caps, who's just built up a rock-solid shield. Astralis continue this chase in. Get the slow. Caps, unstoppable, force across the wall to escape.
So big overcommitment there from Astralis. Really, with not much gained off the back of it. And you look at that bot lane tower. 1 plate left for Kobe, who's largely been isolated against Handsummer. And Handsummer, leveraging his range on the Caitlyn, has just been bullying out and has built a 1k gold lead. And while there is that same 1k difference in the mid lane, Caps' role and responsibility is not necessarily to be the carry in this game. It is to just be a frontline and someone that can't be shut down by the likes of Astralis' composition. So while the gold difference isn't dramatic right now, it still feels like the G2 have the primary control over this game, given that Kobe continues to fall behind. And remember, you mentioned it, a lot of AD on the side of Astralis, and it's going to be harder and harder to be able to win out on these fights as Caps, Yike, and Broken Blade just continue to stack that armor.
I will say G2, a lot of physical damage on their side as well. Caps will put out some magic damage, obviously, on the Malphite, but he's unlikely to go for a full AP build, just using the base scaling from the Malphite. And Heimerdinger can provide you a little bit of AP as well, but not the traditional sort of mid-lane mage comps that we have come to see across the course of League of Legends history.
Now look at what's happening on the minimap, because Astralis are trying to cross-map and threaten to dive onto Broken Blade, but Caps is making his way there as well to try and protect.
But how do you dive Broken Blade? He just gets off Skull. They're looking for the CC afterwards. They hold the stun forward, and they do exactly that. Caps is here, though. No unstoppable force for him. They might try and turn and burn back onto him. Zhonghun coming in, looking for those melee auto attacks for the Icebreaker. The CC chain onto Caps is good. Ignite ticking on him now as the stun comes in once again, and Caps trying to walk away. Not allowed to. Leader turns back straight onto Mickey, dives in the first duet. That was gorgeous from Leader. He takes him out in the 1v2, just lying in wait in the darkness. And Astralis coming online across the board. They get all 5 plates in the top lane as well.
That is some nice Aurelia-ing from Leader. The combo was flawless, and he finds a quick execute onto Mickey, sending him back to the fountain as Astralis also find 2 kills in top. A nice dive onto Broken Blade. I thought that he was going to buy enough time for Caps to arrive and prevent the dive from really working out, but they play it patiently, they play it clean, and then Caps shows up, he uses QE, realizes I've got nothing left because I don't have ult, and then it's an easy kill for Astralis as Zhonghun continues this roaming style. He's been involved in 6 of the 8 early game kills so far, and yes, he has completely abandoned Kobe pretty consistently throughout the early game, which has kind of sucked for him, but the advantages that Astralis have gained elsewhere on the map have been significant.
Ever since Zhonghun came over from Korea, I think this roaming style has suited him well. Remember his Pike games in the first split that he played. He was always everywhere on the map, and it's something Mickey loves to do on the Heimerdinger as well, but he consistently is caught out. Handsummer so long. Leader takes a Kobe in the end, gets the kill. Leader tanking the tower, will be shut down, but that's a shutdown over to the Donger. And it's probably the priority target if you're Astralis. Give the gold to the support.
That was really cool.
It was really nice.
That was just cool. You know, like, I know a lot of people don't like Aurelia when they see her in solo queue, but man, seeing some high-level play on that Aurelia, the confidence and the understanding of your limits there by Leader was just incredible to watch. These are the champions that this player is known for, assassins. And getting his hands on Aurelia, obviously I had my concerns. We looked at this draft. Okay, where's your AP damage? But right now he's making it work. As G2, though, will be the ones to secure a dragon, losing on mid laner and coming back out onto the map. G2 is still in a very good position.
And the second dragon of the game will be secured for them. They had some deep vision in the Astralis jungle as well, making it hard for Astralis ever to step up towards this. But across the board, Astralis in an okay spot. You know, 1,000 gold ahead at this portion of the game. We'll have another look at this from Leader. Dashes, gets the Q resets from killing the minions, lands the flawless duet.
It's the fact that as he Qs that caster minion, he started his E, and he kind of covered it with his own body. So then when the second E actually comes out, it's a lot quicker and harder to react to, which caught Hansama completely off guard. And then he's able to set up for the extra Q. That is some just really clean Aurelia play. Great stuff from Leader. Of course, does lose his life, but giving that kill over to Mickey, not the end of the world. We'll secure that Ryalize, though, to provide that extra bit of utility. But I was not expecting this amount of violence between Astralis and G2. As we mentioned, a single roster change with the addition of Leader. There were questions like how much of a dramatic difference is this really going to make to Astralis, but I feel like that we can already see that difference, level of aggression that they're willing to bring out. And yesterday, Leader did get bullied. He made a couple position mistakes here and there, but here on day 2, getting used to being back on the stage, he's looking confident and he's looking clean on a champion he's very comfortable on.
But even yesterday against Koi, it's actually quite a disparity between the two Astralises we're seeing. Yesterday was really slow, really methodical at times, very willing just to wait out the objectives, fight around these big goals on the map and then suffocate Koi out of the game. Here, they're taking the fight to G2, trying to get Aurelia ahead, trying to get Kobe ahead. They've struggled, obviously, in that bot lane, but mid lane, Leader is in a very strong spot.
And let's not forget, Astralis were fighting to secure playoffs last split. They were at the bottom of the barrel, finding themselves in, what was it, 8th place? Just short of Fnatic and XL. They had to make sure that they got those crucial wins, and they got a big one against Fnatic, securing them a comfortable spot in the best of 3. So they actually look pretty good, taking down BDS in the best of 3 as well. And but already, if they are able to get a win over G2, this will be the only time that they meet in terms of the best of 1s, and it'll be massive. Zhonghun finding the flank, the TP coming in.
Double TPs have been invested. They're going for Hansama. Does still have the cleanse, uses it to get away from the solar player, but the dive in is beautiful. Astralis already taken one. Hansama's fallen. Leader dodging onto Mickey, trying to get rid of the support, and it's another 2 for 2 so far. Yike chased underneath the tower. Caps trying to put the damage down as well, but no ultimate for him. Means that he just has to back away. 2 for 2 traded in the mid lane.
It's impressive that G2 was actually able to get 2 kills off the back of that, because that fight just looked completely in control of Astralis at the start. They were able to lock down Hansama, who only had the cleanse available incredibly quickly, and the TPs were coming in from multiple angles. So you can see this incredible collapse from the top, from the right, and it looked like the G2 just getting funneled in as they all dive on top of Hansama. He creates a bit of space with his E, but then you can see the damage onto Zhonghun with the AoE damage that's coming out from Mickey, from Caps. And they're able to get that additional kill onto 113 as well. It means that it ends up being a 2 for 2 trade overall.
It took Kobe a little while to really be able to get involved in that fight as well. So a bit, maybe just a tiny bit miscoordinated from Astralis. Didn't have all 5 members firing at the same time, but still 2 for 2 trade is what they'll take.
I mean, it's something that you have to bear in mind as well. You know, you think about it. Oh, hang on. Ultimate in from the Kleds.
It's charging down here. Finn, isolated. Gonna try and recall, but that B's not gonna help you too much. It's just locked in place. Not really much the Renekton can do. It's a very sad Crocodilian as he goes 1-2-2.
The punish is good from G2. They find another kill and keep the gold very even. Renekton, though, still has a slight gold advantage over his lane counterpart. As Astralis now threaten this mid. You can see Aurelia pushed in the top wave, now moving down towards mid. The Herald now dropped. They've secured a bit of vision in the top side jungle, as G2 did just commit to 2 members bot, but now they want to make sure they walk this Herald in. I'd be surprised if they commit to another push, but they're going to do just that. Renekton's going to be up in 3 seconds, doesn't have the TP available. They should be able to get that additional knock, and Astralis can walk away happy. Renekton can go catch that bot wave, and now Astralis need to reset. What can G2 do with this window that they now have to reclaim some vision? It looks like not a lot.
I like the fact that in our split break, you know, the 1 week we had off, we decided that buying Shirley a GoPro was one of our priorities. Just strap it on her, see her go down the slopes.
Sometimes those accidents are not your fault, and you need to be able to catch that on camera.
True, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Dash cam.
It's really important for the insurance.
How, do you think Shirley has insurance? Do you think RevTower has insurance?
I mean, you know, when she knocks someone back, like Shirley's job is to break towers. You know, Hansama's going to be like, well, I got whiplash. You know, it's very common. It's very common. Yeah. And now she's got proof that she was only going into the tower,
she was just doing her duty.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
True. For king and country.
Exactly.
Just charging.
I don't, well, didn't know that Shelley was British, but all right.
You've got Jarvan. He's prince at least.
True.
Right? Like,
very true.
For Jarvan.
Who is on the other team. In any case, Kled engages onto Zhonghoon.
Only onto Zhonghoon, though. He does have the Eclipse for a bit of extra tankiness, but that tankiness is just not enough. G2 shred through him. They find a kill as they were setting up around this third dragon of the game, and Astralis caught a little bit unaware there.
Felt like for the first time, it was Astralis who, as you rightly said, were caught unawares. A lot of these fights, they've been the initiators. They've been the ones starting off with Zhonghoon, finding good flanks, finding ways to come in, especially that mid-tower dive that G2 tried to set up that Astralis responded with. But this time around, G2 found the advantage. The stun onto Kobe.
Ultimate grenade there. Kobe pops a Featherstorm. Yike holding onto the EQ combo. Gale Force enough to get him out of range.
Kobe able to walk away to safety. Will be forced to go back to base after losing that HP. But now the game returns to a net neutral. G2, though, even after all the chaos, have been securing these neutral objectives. 3 dragons. And it will be Soul Point up next. Irelia now at 2 items. And she's going to be that much stronger as she looks for a fight against Broken Blade.
Does she beat Broken Blade? Hits the stun. Flawless duet there, dodging Broken Blade. Vanguard's edge coming out as well. Broken Blade flashes. Leader flashes forward, straight into the waiting arms of Yike. Now can Leader win the 1v2? He's done it before, but the remount onto Skull is too much. Leader almost takes down Broken Blade in the 1v2, but just can't do enough.
Junglers, man, they always ruin Aurelia's fun. Leader overcommitted a little bit there to try and secure that kill onto Broken Blade. After he'd secured the flash, he should have been happy with it, but he was not expecting the jungle. Now engage from 113.
Finn coming in from the side as well. Mickey doesn't have the flash, has a stopwatch, but that's only going to buy you a couple of seconds. The Solar Flare on a control ward there, perhaps thinking Mickey might flash the wall. They hadn't quite timed that one properly. Cap's now caught up in the CC, the charge from Broken Blade as they look for a little bit more. Yike coming in, no Cataclysm on him, but already Finn's down. G2 on the advance as they continue to chase.
And another overcommitment from Astralis as they lose another member. Ends up being a 1-for-1 trade, but Finn losing his life in exchange for Mickey's. He really has been the punching bag this game for G2. But now they've secured the kill lead and the gold pretty much remains even. This entire game has been a bloodbath. The tower leads in favor of Astralis. The gold lead ever so slightly in favor of Astralis, but G2 firmly in control of the dragons. And 113, he sees an opportunity here. He thinks he can catch Mickey out with Finn coming in from the flank and with the bot lane moving in through the mid lane. But this stopwatch just doing a great job of buying time. Zhonghoon does ult, as you suspect, predicting the flash from Mickey, as that's really the only direction he can go. Of course, doesn't have his flash available. Means that there's nothing to burn. And then Finn, well, he didn't have any tools to escape, so he ends up losing his life on the back end.
And the difficulty for Astralis now is you're facing up against a lot of armor on the side of G2. You're facing up against Soul Point for the next 4 dragons or so. A single misstep gives G2 Soul, or gives them a Baron. Unless, obviously, they're not up at that time, but Astralis are fighting from a deficit in terms of neutral objectives. Yike looking for a flank here, Cataclysm in. Zhonghoon's going to look for the Solar Flare as well, and Yike's just gone a little bit too deep. He's shut down already. Broken Blade dashing away, the tower will fall. Cap's going in as well, but he's rooted with the Blade Caller. Stun's going out. Caps looking for the ult, but Kobe flashes it. 113 will fall, though. Another route onto Caps. Zhonghoon going back in, and Leader has not been here for this entire fight. Hansama with a double. Kobe gets one in response. Another's going to follow up as Broken Blade will fall. And Astralis, as G2 dived, all they could see was blood. They take 3, and they might even turn towards the Baron.
Kobe is just so damn good, man. The react flash onto Caps in the midst of that whole fight, positioning perfectly to set up for the feathers to deal as much damage as possible, landing 2 separate routes throughout the fight. Looks good, but now they commit to the Baron, and Hansama and Mickey are still alive.
Finn flashes in. He was looking for someone, but Hansama and Mickey backed away in perfect unison. Hansama gets another ace in the hole. Gonna chunk out Kobe. Leader and Kobe now all hailing the retreat, trying to get back to the safety of their tower.
And now look, Yike
helping out.
He is back on the map, but so is Zhonghoon and 113. The junglers return as Kobe needs to reset. But Hansama, He hears us praise Kobe, and he immediately answers back with a play of his own. The AD carries are on form today. And it is fun to watch these two duke it out. The gold continues to stay even. The dragon spawns in a minute's time, and this has to be the objective that both teams have their eyes on. The last fight did not have leader in it. And you can see G2 trying to punish the fact that the Aurelia is top lane and has the way to join the exchange. Yike, far too deep though. It's way too difficult for the rest of G2 to really follow up with 113 and Jonghoon. And look at that, Kobe uses his ultimate to dodge Mickey X's ultimate, which means he doesn't get CC'd initially. Look at the positioning of the feathers, roots up Caps to make sure that they can continue. The flash immediately, the second that he sees another route onto Caps, sets up for Jonghoon to follow up to secure that kill. And then they get another one onto Broken Blade. Now another engage.
Jonghoon onto Mickey. Soul of that going down as well. 113 looking for it, but Mickey has time to flash away. Has Merc Tread so he can get out of it. Leader going onto Unsummer. Stop with the unstoppable force. Unsummer cleanses away and Leader still takes him. 1-for-1 so far. As Broken Blade will take the counter kill. Yike in a good flank position here. No Cataclysm on him, but an EQ could spell doom for Astralis. Dragon up in 18 seconds, as you say, Betty. Leader will be back up in 35. Unsummer in 30.
But it is crucial that Kobe is still alive. Right now, Astralis have control over the objective. G2 is looking at their options, and there's a world where they could have potentially traded for something like a Baron, threatened that as an alternative. But without their AD carry, they don't have the speed with which to take it down quick enough. So they're going to instead choose to push in mid, clear out some of this vision, and look to reset. That trade from Leader was crucial in preventing G2 from doing anything else as Astralis buy enough time to prevent the soul from falling.
I'm going to be honest, Veddy, it's been a while since we've seen G2 really pushed in a game. It definitely didn't happen yesterday. Didn't really happen even in the finals. A couple of games maybe in playoffs. Astralis putting them on the ropes here, making them...
I mean, we were wondering when G2's draft creativity would be challenged, right? And you look at the Malphite, and on paper you sit there and think, oh, against this Aurelia, against a full AD composition, it makes a lot of sense. But so far, it's not proving to be as effective as I think that people were expecting. A lot of the damage from G2 rests on Broken Blade and Unsummer, whereas Astralis have damage dealers across the board, and their ease of execution when it comes, as long as they're starting the fights, Astralis have been able to find ways in which they can come out on top.
460 armor on Caps. About 200 to 300 on
Oh, is
Yike
that
as
all?
well. Only 460, man. There's a last whisper though for Kobe though, so he's gonna absolutely melt
They're
through that.
starting this Baron off.
Baron has been started. Charge available for Broken Blade. Ultimates across the board for
They
G2.
have to be suspicious.
They're definitely suspicious. Astralis trying not to be.
They're flipping it.
They're going for the flip. Yike goes in with the EQ. It's secured by Kobe, and now Yike tries to flash away but can't get over his own wall. He built it, and he pays for it. The Solar Flare short from Jonghoon. Mickey sidestepping the Zenith Blade as well. G2 could have lost a lot more out of that fight, but good sidestep from Mickey means that he stays alive, and G2 can back and defend their base.
But Astralis walk away with the Baron, and what a convincing call. Kobe stacking up the feathers behind the Baron to make sure that they had that additional bit of burst when going for the smite fight. They coordinated it well, and Yike wasn't able to secure the steal, meaning now that he's lost his life, that's one less member to help defend the gates, as Astralis have come a knocking. But for now, they'll take the tower, they'll look to reset, and they'll look to spend some of that gold that they have secured. Look at that big spike. Finally, one of these teams has secured a pretty big advantage, and I don't think anyone was expecting for it to be Astralis. We're going to get a slow-mo. The feathers at the back of the pit, you can see them stacking up. Goes in. I think that initial smite came out from Yike.
Yeah.
And then Kobe, actually, with his burst from the feathers, is actually what secured it in the end.
Yike caught out a little bit here. Glacial Prism slides in from 113. Yike's going to try and get across the wall. Cataclysm's in. Leader going on to Unsummer as well, but Leader's locked up and can't get the kill. Unsummer able to survive off the back of it. And the push delayed now for Astralis. They were able to take a top tier 2 out of this Baron. They'll look for a bot tier 2 as well.
I will admit, visually, very confused as to what happened
This
in
whole
that
fight
space.
is just everyone jumping on top of each other
But
and
they were
someone
like
dies, Betty.
sliding on top of each other. Leader did actually use his flash, so did Caps in that last exchange, but they kept Unsummer alive, which in the last few fights they've struggled to do. 5 deaths on the AD carry for G2, and that's not to say that he hasn't tried his damnedest to stay alive, but Leader has been creating a huge amount of pressure in these fights and making his life difficult in the 5v5s. But wow, what an incredible game between these two teams. Kobe, he had a strong split when we look back to Winter. Him and Jonghoon were able to find 2v2 kills in lane. Their team finding was a large part of what made Astralis successful. And now it feels like that they've just been further enabled by Leader. 113 Leader and Jonghoon as a trio are just ready to fight at every opportunity. It feels like that every exchange we see is often started by these three in tandem. And G2, I don't think they were expecting this level of aggression from Astralis, but we heard the conversations, we heard the comments, we heard G2 yesterday saying they're excited to face Astralis because this team has been looking good behind the scenes. And we're seeing it come to fruition here on the stage today. Let's see if they can still win this game, though. The deficit isn't so large that G2 can't bounce back. And with a minute until the Dragon, G2 have a very clear win condition or a potential way back into this game should Astralis falter.
And that's where the battle lines will be drawn. The next Dragon will be Soul for G2, Hex Soul as well on a Caitlyn. It's just absolutely disgusting. Astralis trying to get some information behind enemy lines, placing wards into that G2 blue side. And G2 start to move Broken Blade down. Importantly, doesn't have the TP. So while this setup happens around the Dragon, while Astralis can lead Finn up towards the top side, Broken Blade has to decide either to come down or to chase onto Finn up towards the top side of the map. And looked like they were trying to collapse here for a second. Finn could TP out. G2 realized that Finn is not being greedy, not pushing the extra wave. We're now back towards
But with such
side.
a large investment, they now know that they can push this wave in bot lane all the way in. This could be a window for G2 to try and force a fight in mid.
TP's coming in, one behind Hans Summer here as well. Jonghoon trying to get in, Kobe's still alive. They've dived onto 113. Off towards the back, Leader has to pop the stopwatch. He's against 3 players right now. G2 just distracting Astralis. Finn and Leader doing everything they can. Onto Hans Summer, down to a 3rd HP. Finn almost gets Mickey, but Mickey flashes away. 1-for-1 trade so far. Broken Blade now in the stopwatch of his own. Jonghoon stepping forward. Broken Blade will fall as well. 2-for-1 in favor of Astralis as they look to push down mid.
The fight was split thanks to the TPs committed by Astralis. Finn coming in from the river, Leader coming in from mid lane. Once G2 had committed with Broken Blade and Yike, they effectively got separated from the backline, from the damage of Hans Summer, thanks to Leader basically being a backline threat. He did lose his life in the exchange, but it was worth it as Astralis break into the base, find 2 kills.
Jonghoon's going to die here. No way for him to get out. He looked for the Zenith Blade onto Hans Summer.
But the Dragon, remember, that is now going to be up and is something that with Yike spawning in 5 seconds, G2 will have their eyes on.
Leader 10 seconds away. Finn still with the team right now. Astralis trying to take some control over the top side, but as you say, Betty, the Dragon, the key focus.
Raptors right now.
I think they're looking for double inhib. I think Finn is going to try and push in top side. They give up the Hex Soul and they get double inhib instead. Broken Blade has back to try and answer that. The Dragon now started. Astralis realizing with Jonghoon dead, they cannot fight it.
All right. Wow. Okay. So at the end of the day, by going for that mid inhibitor, they sacrificed this Dragon. And we look back at the fight. So 3 members in mid lane right now with the 2 side laners from Astralis. They tried to tank the shot from Hans Summer, but you can see here when the TP's coming in, Caps immediately retreats to provide protection along with Mickey, which basically creates a 2 versus 3 situation on the front line. Yike is perma-CC'd. The stopwatch buys a little bit of time, but when Finn arrives to the fight, Leader, look at how much damage he's able to do with the assistance of Finn. Almost getting the kill onto Hans Summer, but doesn't quite have the tools needed to secure it. But it doesn't matter, because he bought enough time. He forced that backline away from the fight, allowing Astralis to come out the victors. And at this point, they probably should have gone for the Dragon. They probably should have denied that win condition, but instead they opened up the inhibitor, and now G2 have the Soul. And again, I would not count G2 out just yet. They still feel very strong, and one good team fight can turn the game. The Baron now back up. The battle line's drawn once more.
And Summer has both sums as well. Vision control for G2 around this Baron side. Astralis trying to shepherd in their super minions. 113 going onto Counts, but not really the target that you're looking for right now. Broken Blade's going to catch the wave in mid. Astralis continue to push forward.
Look at these waves on the side, though. G2 have a massive stacked one on bot, and Astralis are just walking in the super minions in mid-wave. Engage.
113 only gets onto Counts. Once again, not the target you want. That's Glacial Prison burnt. Big ultimate for the next fight. As you say, the minion wave in the bot lane crashing.
But they have no TPs. They have no TPs, so they can't afford to go and catch it. As you rightly said, they're doing a lot of damage as well. But Astralis, they're in this awkward position where they don't know what to do. G2 are in a better position as they just waste Astralis' time. That tower is likely to fall. They have position around the Baron, that top lane wave in a good spot as well. And G2 are just passively gaining these advantages, leveraging the fact that Astralis do not have the TPs.
Broken Blade looking for it. Jonghoon tries to get onto Hans Summer, but can't get close enough. Leader onto Yike, knocked up. Leader, solar flare on the backline, though. They're going for Mickey instead, and Mickey's already dead. Leader still surviving in the midst of it all as he continues to dish out the damage in the fight. Kobe doing it too. It's a double with the Splash is out, but there's nowhere for him to go. His base, his team, the win forfeited to Astralis.
G2 force the fight, but Astralis walk away the victors. Once again, this top side for Astralis acting as a meat shield for Kobe to freely dish out the damage and tear G2 apart.
And we wondered what the change would do for Astralis. Was bringing Leader in the right choice? Well, right now, they're going all the way to the stars. Astralis 2-0.
A massive victory for Astralis. Last split, they struggled to make it into top 8. Last split, it felt like that Astralis was an afterthought, and while they did show some good stuff in the best of threes, it felt like that the Astralis